How about that right hook that Ricky Stenhouse threw on Kyle Busch last night? I was actually already going to talk about Kyle Busch today, so while he and Ricky Stenhouse work on settling things, let's jump in and ask the question. Could Kyle Busch have saved Stewart-Haas Racing if they had signed him back in 2022? The rumor mill has been swirling with talk that come 2025, Stewart-Haas Racing's Cup Series operation will be no more. I actually said privately a year or two ago that I thought that in 5 years, SHR would be no more. But now that the reality of that prediction seemingly could be upon us, I find myself struggling to decide if I really think it's real or not. The reality is that SHR has been on the decline for the last 5 years, and the fall has been ugly. Today, their 4-driver lineup has a total of just 1 Cup Series win in their entire collective careers. The reality of the situation is that there is no one change that could have fixed this fall. But was there one big move that could have gone a long way toward breaking the fall and setting them up for a return to form? I would argue that the answer is yes, and I would argue that that move would have been signing Kyle Busch to drive the 41 car in 2023. We all remember the drama-filled Kyle Busch free agency in 2022. About a month before he signed with RCR, I made a video explaining why SHR, or more specifically Ford, needed to sign him. There was legitimate talk that he could have been in the 41 car for 2023, and had he signed then, the landscape of NASCAR and the fate of SHR may be very different today. At that point, the decline of SHR was apparent, and actually since the day that video was published, SHR has not won a race at the Cup Series level. Meanwhile, Busch went on to sign with RCR, and although the second half of the season wasn't great for him in 2023, he did win 3 races. So what would have happened if Busch had signed with SHR? Well, their driver lineup would certainly look different, but not as different as you may think. I actually think that Ryan Preece still ends up with the team, but in the 10 car instead of the 41. Remember, Aric Almirola was actually supposed to retire following the 2022 season, and it really seemed like SHR had to convince him to come back for one more year for reasons of sponsorship. From what I've heard, Ryan Preece is really great with his sponsors, and I think that the team would have had a much easier time letting Almirola go and replacing him with Preece had Kyle Busch been in the fold. I think that Josh Berry is still in the 4 car in 2024 following the retirement of Kevin Harvick as well, which probably means that Noah Gragson, who has been the biggest surprise of the 2024 season, is the odd man out. But now you're looking at a 2023 lineup of Harvick, Busch, Briscoe, and Preece. Obviously, Kevin Harvick was capable of having a tremendous positive influence on the development of drivers like Briscoe and Preece. But now you have Harvick and Busch as mentors to those two. I don't think that Busch has had the same mentorship opportunity at RCR with Austin Dillon, who is already an established Cup Series driver. Though maybe he does have a role like that with Xfinity drivers like Austin Hill and Jesse Love, as well as some of the guys with Spire's Truck Series program. I think that Busch's presence and influence at SHR would have elevated Briscoe and Preece as drivers, and also been a big help to Josh Berry this year, though I would argue that Berry's performance has been better than his stats show. Then there are the intangibles that Busch brings to the shop. Put aside the question of whether or not Kyle Busch Motorsports still exists in this scenario. Not only do you have the veteran presence of Busch in the shop, but you have someone who has been running a championship-winning Truck Series program. Of course, the same could be said for Kevin Harvick, who owned Kevin Harvick Incorporated and won multiple championships in the Truck Series as well. That sort of leadership and understanding of what it takes to run a winning team is something that you really cannot put a price on. Then you essentially have a situation where you have 4 championship-winning car owners in the shop, assuming, of course, that Tony Stewart and Gene Haas are regular presence. But this comment from Harvick happened when I was about halfway through writing this video.
I heard from the owner twice in 2 weeks. So that's different.
Ouch. That has to be one of the crazier burns I've heard in a long time. Seriously, between the Harvick comment, Busch versus Stenhouse, and Kyle Larson qualifying 5th for the Indy 500, NASCAR off the track was spicy this weekend. Anyway, of course, Harvick was set to retire after 2023, and I don't think that Kyle Busch's presence does anything to change that. So for 2024, I think that the driver lineup with Kyle Busch is Busch, Briscoe, Berry, and Preece. Busch's presence would have provided a much stronger veteran leadership than Chase Briscoe does in reality. That's not a knock on Briscoe at all. I actually really like Briscoe, and I think he has a bright future in the sport. But with that said, he's 29 years old with 3 seasons at the Cup Series level and 1 win under his belt. That's not the same kind of leadership you get from a 39-year-old veteran with 63 wins and 2 championships over the course of the last 2 decades. Obviously, hiring one person would not have cured all of SHR's problems, but Kyle Busch would have gone a long way toward fixing them, and I believe that had SHR signed them, the team would be in a significantly better position today and on the pathway to regaining its former glory. The leadership that Busch would have brought to the team, especially following the retirement of Kevin Harvick, would have made a huge difference. And if the rumors are true about Tony Stewart and Gene Haas's dwindling interest in the team, then who knows? Maybe Busch is given the opportunity to buy into the team like Brad Keselowski did with Roush Fenway to form RFK Racing. And then we get to see Stewart-Haas-Busch Racing or SHB Racing. Or maybe Busch buys the team outright and it becomes the Cup and Xfinity arm of Kyle Busch Motorsports. That's an opportunity that he probably won't get at RCR, as that team pretty clearly seems destined for the leadership of Austin Dillon. I think that after going winless in 2023, losing Kevin Harvick, and losing an anchor sponsor in Busch Beer, the odds were stacked against SHR going into 2024, and it was going to take a really impressive start to the season to keep them from at least downsizing, if not going away completely. That big, impressive start to the season just hasn't happened. And now the team that has claimed 69 wins and 2 championships in the last 16 years may see its story coming to a close. So that's what I've got for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, then please like it to boost it in the algorithm, and feel free to leave a comment below. And have a great day.